Preparing to live stream the meeting.
Scary.
Hey, we're now live streaming on YouTube, apparently so.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. How you doing?
All good, all good.
Good in our bend, one and all.
What are you wearing, Lee? What are you wearing?
Well, we did say there'd be fancy dress, but also, Andy, you said you wanted to talk something about Mexico, so I assumed it was the country and not the...
Don't bring me into this.
Not the Ford. we could talk about Ford Mexicos if you like, but yeah, it's too late to go back now, isn't it? So
I think the angle of your camera makes that look like an old lady's like wedding hat.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That's really cowboy, though. I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Oh,
we'll see how long it lasts for.
You're committed now. Go with it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm loving the shirt, Joe.
Yeah. Well, I've got to put the effort in.
And Andy, I'm equally loving your background. Your proper job. So.
Yeah, it's the real thing as well. It's the real thing.
Very good. Yeah, so it does exist then.
Oh, oi! Easy.
He's not driven it in 3 months. He's part-time
owner. Come on. We were all out at the weekend.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I saw some lovely pictures of you guys down to West Bay. So
yeah, you didn't come, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're rolling around in bed somewhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, if only, I think. On that note, we'd better say hello to Nick, our patron, who's joined us today. Is that cool in the gang?
Good evening, guys.
Excellent.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, likewise. It's great to have you on board. I think, what was it, 4 or 5 episodes ago earlier in series 3, you kindly joined us for the evening. So
I did. Thank you. Enjoyed it immensely. Looking forward to the next one next year, I guess.
Absolutely.
Sure. Fantastic.
So yeah, I'm just like from an admin point of view, because it's important we do this properly. I'm refreshing YouTube on our Road to Redline page, and there it is. Cool. The live broadcast is there. So just making sure that we're actually able to work.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's working. 11 watchers so far, it says. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Say hello on the comments if you would.
Yeah. So we need to, I think, kick off by explaining how this is going to work, or how we envisage this is going to work, because the reality is we haven't got a clue.
Well, fingers crossed. I think if anyone wants to join us on the Zoom live, they can take part, can't they? So if anyone's got their Zoom, we've got a meeting number and a password. So if you've got a pen handy, I'll rattle those off now. So the meeting ID for Zoom is 830-6306-0790. And then the passcode for the meeting, it's a really original one. It's 911-911.
Good, that, wasn't it? I like
So
that.
if anyone fancies joining, jump on.
It's a bit like the days of pirate radio, Joe, isn't it? Text in your shout out. 079 212.
911.
Yeah. Brilliant. It's nice. I think after this series, it's the 3rd one, isn't it, from Road to Redline? This was kind of unique in the sense that we've actually done a whole series not sitting in the same room as one another.
It's true.
It's a bit like the Premier League football, isn't it? It's still going on. There's no audience, or no live audience, no crowd, and it's not quite the same. I miss you, boys. I'm looking forward to kind of getting back around the table, having a giggle with you guys in series 4, but also through other people and guests that we have on as well. I think that's going to be the way forward. Series, 3rd one, isn't it, from Road to Redline? This was kind of unique in the sense that we've actually done a whole series. Paul's joined us with the echo on.
Yeah, we're going to have to meet you, Paul.
Football, isn't it?
Is that better?
There's no.
I think what we're probably going to do, isn't it, if we mute everyone and we can unmute anybody that we fancy talking to, I think that's a
good plan. I shall get on the decks and start doing that.
Or keep if you've got YouTube up, keep that muted. Isn't it? It's kind of what we said, in case people are using YouTube to keep an eye on the comments, which is a good thing to do. So yes, Paul Preston, thank you for joining us, good sir. Always a pleasure to have you on board.
Evening.
It's fancy dress apparently, but we just told ourselves between the presenters. So yeah.
Paul's got his granddad's cardigan on. It's fine.
I was going to say Andy's come as Chris Evans again.
I thought it's lumberjack night tonight.
Yeah. Fair play. Yeah, very good.
I'm muted. Good evening.
Oh, he's in the room.
I'm in the room.
Good evening, Paul.
It's been unlocked.
But no, it's fancy. I'm sure I could go and find something.
Do it.
Absolutely.
Needs to be done.
It's a Friday night, so we can have a bit of a giggle. So, yeah. Well, look, you know, in the UK at least, lockdown's lifted. Andy's light's gone off. We're not talking about his marbles.
Motion detection.
Yeah, so you know, we've all kind of been allowed the privilege of being allowed out again, aren't we? So a lot of the cars have been fired up, and I think weekend's just gone, and the one before that we were all out and about, weren't we? So, you know, how's it been? How has it been? Yeah, back behind the wheel.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? I think we've all forgotten how to drive, but you know, that's work in progress.
It's a bit like the golf clubs at the moment. There's a lot of shouts of 4. few balls gone awry. So yeah, hopefully it's not the same with people's driving. So
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, the first track day back's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Oh, I can leave them to it, I think.
Yeah. What are tracks like when they don't get used much? Are they worse?
It's a good question. Yeah, don't know. I mean, yeah, you certainly someone would have to go out and scrub the track again and make a racing line for everyone, clear all the debris out of the way that's been blown across it over a forlorn winter.
Yeah, we'll send Chuck out.
Yeah. We'll be able to send Joe out if he's got the air ride on the floor. It could just be like a stone plough, basically, and just like stow a 964 shaped narrow body line all the way around the track. So,
what can go wrong?
Yeah,
I think we'll see a big difference between the track operators, because some of them are like pristine, immaculate, and keep them really well, and some of them are just sort of, you know, they sort of don't touch them from year to year. So I reckon some of them will be like overgrown with sort of moss all over them and all sorts. So I think
tumbleweed coming across the track.
That's it.
I wouldn't fancy the first run on the wet track. That's going to be right greasy, isn't it?
Yeah. Be like
depends what tyres you've got there, Andy.
He's never got any tyres. We know that.
Yeah. No, I don't do tyres.
You've got the Yul Brynner version, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do have tread on my tyres at the moment, but they're not particularly great. But
a 4CS would be good, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, no, easy. Don't want any of that.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I had an interesting conversation. I don't know if you got the agenda going anyway, Lee. Sorry to butt in.
No, believe me, Nick, there's no agenda. So
okay, great. I mean, I'm new to Porsche 911s relatively. I had a Boxster before and a 997 actually, which I part exchanged for a 996 4CS. Brilliant. I'm really loving the 996. However, I've been talking to some experts relatively, including you, Lee, of course, about changing the suspension and what have you. You're a big fan of all-in stuff. But I don't like that firmer ride. I'm more the soft ride. Dare I say the limousine end ride? Not that it would ever be limousine end, obviously. So I had a great call this afternoon, as it happens, from Peter, I think his name is, from Center Gravity. Like an hour-long chat on it. What I wasn't expecting. And
nice.
Few things he told me I didn't think you could have. You could have the PASM, you know, the PASM from 997. Effectively replicated on a 996, which not the OM, you know, not the OME part, not the original parts, but you know, either Olin's suspension or tractive, I think he said.
Yeah. Oh wow, I didn't.
Oh yeah.
And he just said that's just phenomenal, because then you've got best of both worlds. You know, I can and soft would be softer than 997.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I mean, The only thing to say that, I mean, I personally favour KWs. Bill Steiner, okay. Olin's, I don't know what the scenario is there. There was a recall for some, I think 996 C4Ss, might be turbos as well.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the situation is.
He mentioned that, and he said they're coming out with the version 3 or whatever back end of the year. So
at the back end of this year coming up.
Yeah, this year.
Okay,
yeah.
right. Well, what do owners do therefore? I wonder in the intervening months, because there's some people that have had these fitted, but
well, apparently if under warranty they're giving them something else in return, or you know they're looking after them.
Okay, well, good. That is good to hear. That is good to hear. But yeah, I rate the KWs, but you know, Bill Stein's the same. It's adjustable, you know, and in fact I've had to kind of dial the KWs back a little bit because I left them on the factory settings. It was too hardcore for the road, especially at the moment. I'm not doing like predominantly fast road driving. It's an everyday car. I went to the beach today, chucked the dog in the front, you know, so there's kind of no good if little Jasper's, you know, having all his little bones
put him in the front boot. Poor
You
little
can-
chap.
So,
yeah,
so I'm delighted. I'll be doing an article on this and my journey to making it a little bit more sort of, softer
Yeah,
ride
it's a
without
good-
compromise,
Yeah, it's a good idea, but you can, you can adjust these things, and you certainly can soften them up as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've just got to find your sweet spot, and that's the thing. It's different for everybody,
Personal. It's personal. That's right. But
Very
at least they're
subjective.
adjustable, along a wide range. So you should be able to find
Yeah,
one. And because the car is 4-wheel drive, and it's, as it happens, Tiptronic, he told me, it's a heavier car. So
yeah,
in fact, the suspension will work even better because it's heavier.
yeah. Okay.
So that'll be fascinating news for me.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, it'd be
new
nice to
learning. Not a huge amount of money, so it's all relative, of course. But
Well, yeah, this is it. Let us know how you get on with that. To be fair, so
yeah.
we're joined by Max, who was on a couple of episodes ago on Series 3. Hey, Max, how are you? I think the question on everybody's lips is, are you on your exercise bike?
He is.
again?
I can see it.
Excellent. Is it some sort of peddler-thon? So,
Oh, he's muted.
He's muted. This is Andy on the decks.
No, he's unmuted. He should,
Ah,
he
there
should
he
be
is.
working.
Max, you have privilege to speak.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Max.
We can't hear you,
Can't hear
Max.
It also looks like we're joined by John Wallace, though. John,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind saying hello, it's great to have you on this evening. And that's the beauty of live
Hey.
podcasting. Max,
If anyone's on and muted, if you unmute yourself, then you should be able to jump in.
Oh, John's muted. I see. Max is Thomas's iPad.
Evening, gents.
Now,
How you doing?
Hello,
there
John.
we go. Like
I'm
buses.
actually watching on the YouTube, and I've got you on Zoom on my phone.
Okay, fair. Well, what I would say is if you could mute YouTube, because we're all doing the same, to be fair, it's a great way to keep an eye on the comments. If you mute YouTube, because YouTube's a minute or so behind. Isn't
Good
it?
lag.
Yeah, we can hear the lag,
I'm actually watching on.
as we can hear.
They ran around in circles.
Okay, fair. Well, what I would say
Yeah,
is
just turn the volume down. It'll kill that.
Max,
I've muted John for a second, so unmute yourself once you've got YouTube muted, John.
Max, are you in the game, sir?
No.
Excellent. If you
Ditch the headphones, see if you can get a microphone working.
Yeah. I mean, we've got an hour or 90 minutes to do this pod. Hopefully, by the end, Max will have worked out how to turn his
How
mic.
about that?
Yay! He's in the room.
Hey, I had to ditch the headphones.
That'll do.
There we go.
If it gets irritating, let me know and I'll put them back in. Or if I get irritating, let me know and I'll put them back in.
You're always irritating.
Okay.
Walked into that.
Yeah.
It was.
Talking
Go on.
of irritating, Andy, I was listening to a rival podcast the other day and they were bawling out the Audi A2, which I thought was a bit unfair. They
Really?
weren't getting it at all.
Really?
Mm.
Outrageous.
How
I need
wrong
to
is
listen
that?
to that. What podcast was that?
The Seen Through Glass one, whatever it's called, Behind the Glass.
Oh, well, they know nothing, do they? Idiots.
Wow. Very unkind.
Yeah, I
think
shall have
they're great.
words. Shall have words.
Yeah, you should. You need to troll them aggressively.
Yeah, he has got a 40th edition though, hasn't he?
He has.
Very
Fried
cool.
egg
Yeah,
man.
996.
Oh, actually,
Spent
Five
a lot of
Dress.
money on
Forgot.
Highly desirable. Max, so yeah, you were on Series 3 of Road to Redline a couple of episodes ago, weren't you? Any reflective thoughts on that?
It was really good fun. I really enjoyed
You
it.
sound
I was really pleased with how it came out, actually. Got some really great feedback on social media and things. Yeah, really good. So
Excellent.
I hope you guys are pleased with it.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. No,
Have you got a
waiting
latest Group C thing you can show us? You must have something new hanging around the office somewhere.
Well, Group C's gone a bit crazy, actually, with our new iRock series of prints.
Cool.
So
I like that a lot.
He's created these sort of dripping IROC cars, and he's done one for all 15 of the cars, so the 12 cars that raced, plus the 3 practice cars. And there's a real appetite for it, so that's going really well, actually.
Excellent.
Nice.
Someone's been talking about buying all 15.
Would that be Nick?
There
There he is.
No, Nick and I have been chatting. Though Nick's got a
We have.
print, not one of the IROC ones, but yeah, we've been chatting. So it was really good. I really enjoyed doing it. and it was good for Group C as well.
Excellent.
So have Road to Redline put their hand out for 25k and 10% or whatever it is?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
20
Invoice in the post.
Actually, we're giving one of your prints away tonight, aren't we, Max?
We are, yes.
Remembered. I better sort that competition out. Find out who all the people that entered it. I'll just be back.
Typical Road to Redline, that. What I
Need to
found
get the spinning wheel.
I found particularly amusing, Max, on the retrospective of your episode was you mentioned the fact that you made a few notes on things related to Porsche that you'd like to discuss in the episode. And it was the one episode out of 50 that we've done that we dedicate to everything but Porsche. So yeah, that's we'd have to get you back on, mate, because you're a bit of a library of information there. So
I thought you were going to say a liability.
I've got a day's worth. When you do the podcast-a-thon, where you want to broadcast for 24 hours, I'll be involved in that one, definitely.
It's funny you say that. We have spoken about doing that over, it was Le Mans last year. Obviously,
it was, wasn't it?
Didn't happen. But we were considering going to Le Mans to do it. Then COVID hit, obviously. Then when it was back on, Porsche GB was looking to organise something at the PC at Silverstone. And we thought, okay, we could go to that broadcast from Silverstone.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing got canned, but it's definitely on our radar, and especially through the realms of media such as this, where we might give kind of a 24-hour podcast-a-thon a go. I think it'd be good fun. I think it'd be nice to get a charity involved with that as well, I think. And just do something for a good cause, It's the only way people are going to listen to us for 24 hours anyway. So, yeah, fantastic.
We could do the Road to Redline Track Day Fund, can't we?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah. And a couple more.
You could do it in the you could do it in the bandstand in those gardens in the centre of Bournemouth over the weekend that should be Le Mans. People can bring their tents.
I think you might find a lot of people sleeping in there overnight. The graveyard slot would be.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Is John Wallace around?
Hi Lee, yeah, come on here.
Excellent, cracking, absolutely awesome. Thanks for joining us, as we were saying earlier on. Pleased as well that you're able to mute the YouTube in the background as well, so we can hear you kind of crystal clear now. So yeah, thanks for joining us today.
No problems.
What do you look like, John? Or are you not? You're not camera
my
worthy?
hair's a great royal mess. I'll go on. I'll give you 5 seconds of it, but in real lockdown mode.
Pay for more than that.
Go.
Hey, John. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, we appreciate you joining us this evening and that, and having a bit of a Porsche chat. So, absolutely spot on.
I'm live from Bookham, Andy. You still up here still?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, say hello to my folks just down the road.
Absolutely. Whereabouts is that then? My geography there is terrible.
Leatherhead, Guildford Way.
Oh, very good. Yeah, okay. So just up the M3 and a bit around the M25 from us down in Poole.
Indeed. You talk about tracks. I know a couple of friends have been down to Goodwood a couple of times in this last week. There are people on the track there, so they're cleaning it for everyone already.
Nice, yeah, nice. I tell you what, I know a couple of people in this group have done a few track days at Goodwood. I enjoy it, but they don't operate the open pit lane at Goodwood, do they? It's in the sessions, and I find that quite difficult because it seems like you always have to stay with your car. If they do it in like groups of 10, 15 cars, then they park you all in the paddock. Then after the next session, you have to move to the pit lane. Then after that, so it's like if you go to the toilet, you come back and you've got a steward like looking around your car vacantly, being like, "Where's the owner gone? We need to shift."
I've actually not been on the track at all with my 996, but who knows? In time, it will happen.
Well, I tell you what, then, John, what 996 have you got?
It's a Gen 2, just Carrera 2 manual, very stock. So and since it had its MOT in December, I think I've done about 200 miles, which is appalling. So
it's 200 more than most people, I think.
Well, it was early December, so I had a couple of weeks. But no,
it's 200 more than Andy's, definitely.
A few of us going out on Sunday morning. Hopefully, we're going to meet up somewhere around Guildford and have a little blip around.
Little drive, spot on. What's good roads for you then nearby?
We tend to meet up just south of Guildford and then head off down
Surrey Hills, I suppose.
Kind of Petworth. Yeah. they'll try and keep on the B roads as much, and end up often at the kennels for a coffee or a bacon butty at Goodwood.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, meander on from there. Occasionally down to the actual coast as well. Yeah, down to Chichester Harbour and things like that. So yeah, we need to get a bit further afield.
I think we all just, it's just getting out and driving, isn't it? Again, I think for so many people I've spoke to the past couple of weeks who really enjoy getting out in the cars again. I mean, it's great for the mind, and it really just offers like a morning of solace among this madness that we've all been in the last year, you know. So yeah, good for the mind as well as the body. So
well, hopefully on Sunday morning it'd be quite a mixture, because there's a couple of guys who've picked up cars during the lockdown. So one's got a Spider, 718, nice. I think, whatever it is.
Nice.
In white, which is quite sweet looking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see that for the first time, and then someone else picked up a GT4 Cayman just before, that's around November time, and another GT3 991. So yeah, I'm very much the poor man, but it's great because they, I can keep up with them. It's fine on these roads.
You'll be having the most fun, John. I've no doubt of that, because you have to pedal those cars, and also, as we've spoke about plenty of times on the 99 on Road to Redline regarding the 996, good power to weight for the public road and stuff. GT3 is awesome, but it's a track car, isn't it? And you can only blip it for a few seconds before you're glancing nervously in the mirror at the speed you've done and who's watching. So
that's good fun.
I was talking to James Turner at Sports Purpose the other day, and he was talking about 996. He said, early 996s, C2s, they're the way to go. And so he started to pump them.
Excellent. It's funny, isn't it? Like I say, there's a few, specialists, they're still reticent to put their name to any in terms of selling them, because the engines are made out of chocolate, as we well know. Same with the Gen 1 997s. People are kind of just worried to stock them. Max, you know exactly what it's like, don't you, mate? If you're in this club with me, and but
my car's worthless, apparently, according to the trade.
Well, yeah,
unsaleable.
So don't name the specialist. There's kind of no need. But you discussed trading that in just as a little thing before, not necessarily too seriously. And your 997 was rebuffed outright, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I made a couple of speculative inquiries, over the last couple of years on things, and talked about trading in the 997 possibly as part of that. And a couple of them said, we just don't want it at all.
Did they give you a reason, or were they trying to be polite?
No, they weren't polite. I think, one of them called it a ticking time bomb, and he was probably the most unkind. But I suppose other people, they didn't say it outright, but I guess they couldn't cope with what they see as the risk to their business, I suppose, if it does have a chocolate motor in it.
That is the thing, isn't it? If a business is selling it, regardless of, you're a diligent person, Max, right? But if you just approach business that you've not worked with before, they don't know you. They don't know the history of the engine. Then all of a sudden, if it's on their forecourt next week, they legally have to put a warranty to whatever's gone on, with the car, and it's difficult. That M97, same as the M96 in the 996, they can't be guaranteed to be bulletproof, and that's why, just going back to what you were saying, Paul, a lot of specialists just won't kind of put their name to it, but they are off mic, if you like, saying, hey, these are great fun, which is awesome. It's about time. I'm not saying that as an owner. I'm just saying that as an enthusiast. The 996 and the 997 Gen 1, fantastic value for money.
I think someone just needs to take a view on it. I mean, I had this chat with a dealer that was looking to do something different quite a little while ago now. And so, if you were a 996, 997 specialist, if that's all you did, and you took a view that you're going to lose 1 in 10, 1 in 20, whatever you do your numbers at, and it's going to cost you 3, 4, 5 grand for a new engine. If you just start averaging those numbers, the problems aren't as bad as they will make out. It's just hyped up, isn't it? The whole chocolate engine brigade. I think, there's a business case in that, surely. They can't all be bad.
There's a specialist near me, literally walking distance, who I bought my 996 from. He has been trading since 1986 or whatever. And he absolutely is not afraid of 996s. He probably sells 50% of his stock and actively goes out and looks for those. And if there's minor issues to be fixed, he just fixes them. And he just believes, so much in them, and has done for a long time. Yeah. So there are guys out there, you know, who will back them up.
Yeah, it's nice to see, because again, as others have pointed out to me and people on this podcast previously, all generations of 911s, they all have different problems. You know, like people have forgotten, it was Paul Stevens that made the really good point to me. You know, everyone forgets the fact that 964s, they're known for leaving their oil on the floor, always have done. You know, head studs, braking. You know, it's just it's part of it, you know, and every kind of generation has these issues. But the 996, I think because of the headlights, it got off to a bad start in the eyes of the enthusiasts. And since then, it's just been utterly chastised, possibly unfairly. But it's nice to see the ugly duckling turn into a swan.
Toby Dyer makes a good point actually on the YouTube comments, saying DFI engines are also not as great as people make out. Reports of fuel leaking into the oil, etc. Lots of misinformation out there. Don't know if anybody's got any valid comments on those.
Yeah,
well, I think the DFI engines, I think they do have their own issues, don't they? I think if you don't, and not just Porsche DFI engines, you know, I think if you don't use them hard, you know, then I think you do, you know, you invite problems with the injectors and that sort of thing.
Yeah, coking up.
You know, so yeah, coking. Yeah, that's the phrase I was looking for. Yeah, so
I've got a friend that's got.
We spoke, I think it was a couple of episodes ago, about a trip we did to Europe, and I took a 991 press car, a Carrera T, literally, excuse me, baby miles on the clock. Went with a friend's SC. Joe, you were in that car, and it was the brand new press car that broke down. The water pump just utterly failed, and again, Scott, who we had on Series 2 on Road to Redline, the OPC.
He said he'd done loads of them, didn't he?
Yeah, he said it's you know, it's fairly common 991.2 the water pumps go on them. So
that was a funny 2 days of an air-cooled SC chugging along behind you with bottles of water, filling up this brand spanking new 991.
I tell you what was brilliant as well. So the water pump let go in just over the border, wasn't it, between France and Germany, and managed to limp to a Porsche dealership in Germany, literally first one we found. And they got it in the air. They said, yeah, you know, the water pump is kaput. And they said it's going to be a week to get the part and get it fitted to you. And we were like, a week? It's 2 hours, if that, to Zuffenhausen from here. We can practically see Porsche Platz. How does it take a week to get the part? Like, they are currently building these cars daily just down the road. And they said, no, it's got to be a week. It's got to be. So, we elected basically to just fill the car up with a load of bottles of water. And we just had to, I think we stopped twice between the dealership and Zuffenhausen, limping it to Zuffenhausen where the water pumps are. And just filling it up with water and then watching it gush out the bottom again straight away. So, they've all got problems, like we say. So,
yeah.
Paul and Deb.
The 964 comparisons are really interesting one. I remember my dad being telling me that he was advised not to buy a 964 because of all the complications.
Yeah,
you know, they're such a complicated car. But I think where the 996 and my car won't go in that direction is that there are few enough 964s made for scarcity to help increase the value. So if the bill, be it a 964 or a 997, is 10 grand when it goes wrong, if the car becomes worth 60 grand, then that helps, doesn't it? Whereas if the car's still only worth 15 grand or 20 grand, then 10 grand is a lot of money as a repair, and that's where they're going to struggle, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And also, I've said this before many a times as well, it's a numbers game again. You know, 996 and 997, they made loads of them. So it's not like, you know, the 964 that once had this, you know, lest we forget, I don't remember because I wasn't born, I'm very pleased to add. But when the 964 came out, that caused a bit of a stir because it was the first 911 with ABS, for example, wasn't it? Few other things, power steering as well, and again, to the enthusiasts, it was left field. You wouldn't think that now, would you? But again, where Singer and backdates and whatnot have come along, a stock 964 is quite rare because it didn't have the numbers to begin with. With the 996 and 997, that won't happen because they made so many. But that is a good thing because it means that car will always represent excellent value for money to the enthusiasts wanting to get into the legend that is a 911. You know, I think that's a real plus point.
Do you think anyone will pick up the 996 and start, you know, not necessarily Singer-esking it? I know there's people who've tried doing bits and pieces, but do you think it'll ever fit into that category of you know, the next base model car for project of some sort?
I think so, definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree with Paul down there, to be fair, because I think it's coming into its own. I think it where it's not been universally liked for years, it kind of naturally fits into that outlaw sort of bracket, doesn't it, in kind of Porsche culture. And again, because there's plenty of them, I think it kind of lends itself to people having a tinker and it not being detrimental to numbers and therefore values and whatnot. So
I had a conversation with a Mr. Harris recently, Mr. Chris Harris, and he was telling me how the steering on the 996 is the best he's ever experienced on any car.
Yeah, it's the Gen 2 GT3 in particular he loves, doesn't he?
Yeah. With the thin steering wheel, he just thinks the car is absolutely perfect. And like you were saying earlier, Lee, for these roads, the power to weight is just perfect. Anything bigger, and you're going to spit stuff off into the boonies.
Yeah. Paul, first of all, thanks, like I say, to you and Deb for joining us on Road to Redline today. Really appreciate that. It's a nice way to see out Series 3 with some more previous guests we had on. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, so feel free to say I'm not going to answer, but
okay.
You're involved with the DLS program with Singer over here in the UK at the moment. So, what's it like? What's the goss?
There isn't much goss. I think you've all seen the first customer car has been publicised. That now has been becoming a development car. So we're doing all the testing with that. It's on the road. It's going to Marley. Have all the calibrations done. It's going to Goodwood Festival Speed, possibly with another one. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
But it's moving along quick. It's a difficult start to the project, but it is very interesting and it's a cracking bit to get. It really is incredible.
Exciting.
Yeah. And we've at the moment we've got 5 that we're building.
Wow.
So,
where are they going, Paul? Are any of them going to be home UK cars, or are they all going to the States?
The majority of them are America, Canada, a few in the Middle East and Hong Kong. But there are at least 5 at the moment that are UK.
Good.
I can't say more than that.
Excellent.
If I remember rightly, there's a limit on production. I can't remember what the figure was. Was it 70?
It's about 75-ish at the moment.
About 75.
And
are they sold?
As far as we're aware.
Wow.
I'm not telling you who to, but they are sold.
That's a good project from Singer then, wasn't it? That's result.
Yeah.
How are the specs looking, Paul? Is there anything that you really like or anything that you think is absolutely disgusting?
No, to be honest, when you see the components individually, you think,
Paul, can I just interrupt you for a second? You're very muffled. I just wonder if your hand's over the microphone.
No, we don't have them. We're just on a laptop.
Oh, that's better.
So, is that better?
Yeah.
Closer.
Oh, okay, I brought it closer to me. Yeah, what were we saying?
Wacky specs on the DLS.
Yeah.
You can tell it's Friday, Paul.
The individual components on their own look a bit garish sometimes, and maybe why would you do that? But when the car's complete and you see it all working together, it is an absolute masterpiece. There's no doubt about it. Mr. Dickinson knows what he's doing.
That's good to
In
hear.
the detail, without a doubt.
Yeah, and that the infamous photograph where everything's important. It actually makes sense now. I've met the guy and I've had conversations with him. He's got charisma. He's a proper special guy, special person in every respect.
I think we gained that from the interview that we did with him.
Yeah.
It was, he felt he did exactly as you say. He had charisma and just genuine oozed out of him. I'd say.
When I spoke to him, you three.
Obviously, very deluded then.
It's nice to know that brown envelope reached him anyway. So
he was very keen to sign that magazine for you.
I have to say, I will see if if I can do it, because it might hit the mic. But so for those that don't know, Paul, working at Multimatic these days, has had to do a few bits with Rob, who's come over as Multimatic and now working with Singer. And it was my birthday back in February. You asked me for my address, and I obviously gave it to you. And then this turned up rather out of the blue, which I was really chuffed with. So it's
awesome.
It's the 200th issue of Total 911, which it was the world exclusive, wasn't it, of the Singer cover, the ACS. But not sure if you can see it, but Rob has kindly signed it for us. So yeah, I treasure it lots, which is the reason it's up in my office where I spend a lot of my time. So
That's wicked.
I really, really appreciate that, and some really nice sentiment all around.
Just as well you put it up this afternoon, wouldn't it?
I have to say as well, in similar vein, I had a lovely gift from Max last week. Max's good wife Mandy popped down for a barbecue in the garden. Now Boris has allowed us to do so, and Max kindly gave us one of his prints from Group C. So I now need to find somewhere to put that. So plenty of eye candy going on in the Sibley office.
I saw it on eBay.
Yeah, there's a flipper market for everything, Max. So yeah, cracking. No,
which one did you get, Lee?
With the Singer thing, it's hard not to get excited about the Singer thing, isn't it? But I noticed to myself that the Singer wasn't popping up in any of my fantasy garage games and all that sort of thing. And I was thinking about the cost of them. It really is an expensive car, not the DLS. The classic, as they're now calling it, but it just wasn't, it wasn't really in my consciousness. And then somebody came to my Cars and Coffee in one. He came in the Surrey commission, so I had the chance to really get up close and have a good look at it. They really are beautifully detailed. It's quite a car.
Yeah, it's another level, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah,
but it's a shitload of money, though, isn't it? I still don't know if I'm quite there. In theory, what do you think, Paul, as a collector of interesting Porsches?
The DLS in particular is just ridiculously expensive, but it's aimed at people that have got multi-millions, billions sometimes. I mean, I think I'm allowed to say there are at least 3 clients that have bought 3 of them.
I'm afraid you're really muffled, Paul.
Oh, I've got my arm in front of the mic.
That's why.
Yeah, you cut out just at that point when you were telling us about all these people who bought multi-singers.
Yeah. 3 clients that bought 3.
You're over the thing again.
Am I?
No, I don't think you are.
Yeah.
You're back.
Okay. This is Multimatic laptop.
It's a good job they build cars, not laptops. Everything's important. I tell you what we've kind of forgotten, and I say we as in the inclusive, all enthusiasts, the whole industry. Last year, Roof were planning to launch its SCR, or release its SCR. So it was kind of the naturally aspirated, non-limited numbers version of the CTR anniversary. It came to be known as the modern day Yellowbird. To all intents and purposes, COVID has got in the way of that, but it's been really kind of quiet on Roof Platts, isn't it, since that ACS has launched. And don't forget, it's just over a year ago, Roof kind of, is teased us the right word? I'm not sure. I was fairly lukewarm on it, but with their rodeo car, their kind of version of the four-wheel drive thing. And I have to say, I absolutely adore Roof Automobile. I love the history and the legacy and everything it stands for. But I can't wait to see this SCR. And I just kind of, part of me thinks, I wonder why it's gone so quiet, particularly off the back of Singer raising the game quite considerably with DLS and then ACS.
Do you reckon they're reworking it? Do you reckon there's a plan in there?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Like I say, there's definitely a COVID thing in there because, for Total 911 and whatnot, we planned to go over and test drive the car last year. Then I was told it wasn't ready. It's kind of kept being delayed. And the reality is they can't release the car at the moment because nobody can drive it. There's a real logistical thing in terms of media at the moment that's going on. For example, I'm sure the guys at Porsche GBPR don't mind me saying, there's a GT2 GT3 992 in the UK next week, a pre-pod car. Right-hand drive. Porsche GB has got it for 4 days, one set of tyres. That's it. So they've got to be really kind of selective about who gets in the car. There's no international launch like there usually is. So it presents a bit of a problem. Now, of course, the GT3 sells itself, so it goes a little bit kind of against. But on something like an SCR to what is a small family-run company like Roof, creating a big bang, with media it's really important. It's really important. So I just think all the logistical stuff around that is possibly delaying the car rather than any sort of engineering, mechanical, or emissions related. To speculate anyway.
Can we go back to the rodeo? And can we have a thumbs up or a thumbs down for the rodeo?
I'm going to go down, I'm afraid. I love
it. Sorry.
Yeah. John Wallace is abstaining from the vote. So
Paul looks like he might have bought one.
Max, going back to your question, toyed backwards and forwards with Singer, and didn't put my order in. Just something stopped me. Don't know why. That decided that no, it was going to be a no.
Yeah.
What do you think that was holding you back? Because that's that's surely one of the ultimate tick in the boxes, isn't it? Ordering a Singer certainly would be for a lot.
One 3-letter word, not a 4-letter word, a 3-letter word. Roof.
Nice.
So have you placed an order with Roof? That's the question.
My lips are sealed.
Oh, hello.
No, in discussion. But current climate, I just need to be a little bit more. Lee and I've been discussing just slightly rationalising certain things I've got at the moment, and so if one of those goes, then there will be a move into something. For me, I like to drive the cars. I like to do the road trips, and so it's something that is. I could jump in and go to Stuttgart or wherever. That's crucial, and I'm sure Singer and Roof tick the box. I would have to drive a Singer before I committed to one. With the Roof, I've got a little bit more confidence that you're buying effectively a new car.
I think we were quite fortunate a couple of years ago to have a look at their factory, and they took us around and whatnot, and it was mind-blowing. I thought I came away from that thinking what was quite a small company and what they're doing, and actually the technology and what's going on in those four walls is phenomenal. I think it's really amazing for what's a relatively small team of people. They're turning out some top level stuff, but way I think advanced for their time.
Yeah, 100%. And like I say, they are family run, and even with the CTR, which I thought was absolutely amazing, is the R&D and that literally went into millions upon millions of euros, and they funded it themselves. I think it wasn't like they kind of went and got a big loan or anything like that. They literally funded it from their own business to put into it, which I think is absolutely incredible. I mean, don't get me wrong, especially because they upped the numbers with the CTR anniversary, they'll get it back, but it's an absolutely unreal risk. And again, they're a small company. I thought it was an incredible achievement.
Yeah, definitely.
So the normally aspirated Roof, then what's the motor in that?
Good question. We know it's 4 litre and I think 500 horsepower.
Correct.
You might be able to tell us a little bit more. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I don't know too much more than that.
6-speed, I think it's 520 bhp.
Wow.
That's enough.
Yeah, and it uses the same layout and same chassis, or not chassis, monocoque's the word I'm looking for, that's used in the CTR. Again, when it came down to the R&D and the development of the CTR, that setup as a base was then to be used for future Roof cars. So that can accommodate manual cars, PDK, or they said twin clutch. It will be a version of PDK. 4-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, turbocharged, naturally aspirated, the lot. So again, really, really clever setup to go from that one that one base, you know.
Yeah.
Great platform, isn't it?
Yeah, but also that integrated roll cage, the way that, and again, going back to wanting to use a car and drive it on the continent, it just gives you that peace of mind.
Yeah,
I thought their integrated roll cage was the cleverest thing, wasn't it? I mean, that's I think amazing the way they've done that. Yeah, because that's any car with a roll cage is compromised generally, as theirs is not. Which is I don't think anyone else is doing anything similar.
Yeah,
no, but you take both. I mean, what a wonderful world where we've got the option of something like a Singer. You've got Roof. We haven't talked about the 993 Gunter Works, is it?
Works,
yeah. And what incredible! Those things can only be spawned from something, a 911, which has allowed these things to sort of grow out of it, and incredible amounts of money these things are. But I think it's amazing, absolutely incredible that they're available, and what a choice! Just all of them have their own merits and are wonderful.
Yeah.
Paul, have you thought about the Theon?
Is that the French one?
No, it's the UK one. It's built just up the road from me here in Oxfordshire.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the French one is.
I can't remember the name of that. I saw it at Salon Privy a couple of years ago.
Absolutely, I saw it there. It was a Targa, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Is that the Atelier?
Huh?
The French one's the Atelier, is it? Something like that?
Atelier, yeah. I can't remember. Yeah. Sorry, to go back to Chris. No, I haven't. I don't really know much about them.
I didn't, but I'm hearing some good things, but I've yet to see one, even though they're only 5 miles up the road from me.
But I think it's a really big jump for Singer's beginnings, Roof's beginning. It's for somebody to come into the marketplace and wanting to sell a product, and I'm assuming their price point is sort of 300, 400, 500. I don't know what the price point is.
I think it's 2 to 3, maybe. I'm not sure.
So sort of above Rennsport.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? There's almost like a company for each different budget.
Yes.
There's an appetite for it, because if Singer have got 150 people waiting to have a classic built, there's probably 500 people that haven't been able to make that 150 and haven't got the cash for it. So there's enough people out there that want that sort of thing at different budget levels to enable these companies to build these cars.
Yeah.
Go back to somebody's point earlier about the 996. You've obviously got RPM producing the CSRs, and which are to a certain price point. It's almost like a menu. You can go in there, take your C4S or your C2, and you can budget what you want.
Yeah. My challenge with the 996, and one of the reasons why I didn't buy one, because I looked at 996 Turbo and C4S and Carrera, all those things when I was buying my car. And it'd be interesting to see how people will overcome it or develop it, whatever the right word is. It's the inside, the dashboard architecture, especially the center console. I just don't like it. I much prefer the 997, and that was a significant thing for me.
It's not as nice a place to be, is it?
Can we mute Max, Andy? Is that all right?
No, I agree with him. I'm right up there with him.
Can we mute you as well?
Yeah. I'm all right. Bye. See ya.
Quality.
Because Lee, because you've proven how good they can look from the outside. There's no doubt about it. Stance, wheels, ducktail, all that sort of thing. It looks great, but the inside, it just doesn't do it for me.
See, I think it's horses for courses, and I can see why some people don't like it, because it's a complete departure in terms of architecture and haptics, you would argue, because they clearly didn't have any money at the time. But from any other 911, it cannot be denied. And again, what is really apparent by the time of 997 is they went back to the familiar aesthetics of the rounded headlights up front, outside, but then also inside. It was all a lot more kind of squared off, was it? You look at the door card, you can see G series in there again in its sort of architecture. some people like that, but again, I quite like that the 996 is different, because it's different, but it still feels like a 911. You know, there's still 5 clocks in front of me, in front of the steering wheel, and blah blah blah. You know, the only thing that kind of grates me from a practical point of view is having the electric window switches in the center console. Just purely because, again, today I'm driving to the beach, the dog stands on it, and then the next thing you know, he's trying to bolt it out the window. So it's like, yeah, you know, there's a dog on the loose in the middle of the road. But yeah, you know, otherwise, I don't mind it. What I completely do understand, as I say, is the difference in quality. The 997 Gen 1 is a complete step up back to the realms of 993 in terms of that quality that kind of Porsche's known for with its interior.
Well, the thing for me is if you sit in a 996, it just looks like you're in a 1993 Mark III Escort or one of those Granadas with those dodgy headlights.
I don't think that's right.
Mute. Yellow card.
He's got a fried egg.
I'm waving a fried egg.
Oh, down with me, down with me.
Yoke him.
Andy, I think we're outnumbered on the 996 thing. Might have to succumb.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah. Let's skulk off somewhere else.
When you have a 996 which has got the extra leather and stuff on the dash, it does make a big difference.
As long as it's not Savannah.
I have a Savannah. My C2, with the Diarrhea Savannah interior. Love it.
Love it.
That's a strong spec.
I quite like what's the green? I quite like the green leather they do. You know, you see it occasionally.
What's it called? What was it?
Nephrite or Neophrite or something?
Nephrite. Nephria.
Bogey.
Bogey. I tell you what, there was it on Collecting Cars, or was it somewhere else? It was that silver Boxster with that green interior. I thought that looked absolutely smashing.
Yeah, Bogey looks good.
5 years ago, I'd have chundered in it. Now, I think that it looks fantastic because it's so different.
The guy had that car on the market for months and months and months on Auto Trader, and I kept looking at it and thinking, I quite like that. And then next thing it pops up on Collecting Cars, and he gets screen money for it. He couldn't sell it, and he got
unbelievable. Brilliant, to be fair. John, Mr. Wallace, what exterior colour is your 996 Carrera? But what's the interior as well? It's not green, is it?
It's black.
Banner. Yeah, and what's the exterior colour?
It's silver. It's Arctic silver. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So similar calls then.
Yeah. We need to get together. Mine's a Gen 1. Yours Gen 2. Perfect.
Cool.
Lovely.
The thing about the interior, the dash and everything, shouldn't you be looking out through the windscreen and concentrate on the road? I can't see them. Doesn't bother me.
Said from a loving 996 owner.
No, I think I might send my 996 to Singer and say, guys, just do the interior for me.
Yeah.
Paul's with us, Joe. Paul's with us.
Yeah.
I have to say, and I've mentioned this to Paul Stevens before, just off the back of his PS Auto Art program. I think there's definitely a business case to upgrade in the 996 interior so that it kind of has the same sort of quality materials as 997, even 991, but just again keeping it aesthetically similar to that 996. And it would be a kind of model whereby they already have an interior made. You just basically, like the 996 color palette, you just choose, if you want Savannah, black, Metropole, whatever. It's ready to go, and then you take your car to whoever it is, and then they just swap your interior out and put this new one in, and that's it. Because, like I say, it's a 996. It's not like we're 2.7 RS. It has to be the same seats that came with the car, and Lord Skiff has farted in it, so it's all original and blah blah blah. It's just swap in, swap out. You get that quality, modern material and build quality again that Porsche's more known for. But yeah, like within that 996 frame rate, I think if somebody did that, I think they would fly. I really do.
I agree. It's what we've been talking about, just being more individual. I think that's probably what the Singer thing has done.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to copy. It's just like you don't need to be classic. You can take your car and do.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny because when I was
reimagine.
In your own way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Personalisation.
We talked about that.
I remember modify,
Mm.
and I asked,
Yeah.
but now
He's gone full circle.
Yeah, slightly changed your opinion. Me too, weirdly.
My 997 Gen 2 was the full leather, if you like, inside, you know, the
Yeah.
dash, what have you. My 996 C4S has also got full leather and black, and then the seats are sort of camel color. I don't see much difference in quality on the dash between those two, and I've had both. So whether I'm lucky or I don't know. So, but I take your point about upgrading it even further. You know, the tactile switches and stuff that can be upgraded, as Singer have done. You know,
and
sort of
I think
jewel-like pieces.
Yeah, I think crucially as well in the kind of modern age that we live in, it doesn't. What has been proven, I should say, is it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg for things like that as well. You know, that there are kind of things that can work or whatnot. You know, it's the same again. I don't know what other people have thought, and this is not related purely to the 996. It can be to anything. But I've looked at like the clocks in my 996, and I've thought, well, wouldn't that be nice if they had the hands of the original 911s, just in terms of how they look? I mean, realistically, and Andy, you work in manufacturing, you know, you can prove me wrong here, but you know, to just manufacture these kind of in bulk, because I'm sure other people want them, these classic hands to go on, and it's just a case of disassembling the clock, putting the new hands on, and jobs are good in, isn't it? Surely, but, you know, just to have that kind of classic touch, or some people replace the faces on the tacho, and that again, just to have like that original script. It's not too difficult, is it? You know, we're not moving planets here, are we? You know?
no.
If you look at the menu, with RUF on taking a car to them, actually changing the instruments to the green with RUF on them is not hugely expensive. If you look at the 50th, the instruments on that make a big difference on the 991.
Yeah,
That's the inspiration, to be honest.
Love that.
100%. And that, as I say, Paul, that is the inspiration to me, is looking at. Oh, here we go. And I don't know what Andy's doing here.
Oh, Mr. Techie.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, but yeah,
it's a Ford.
This
That's a Mondeo.
That's a 996 dashboard. Look at it.
No,
Hey,
I've
that's
got a picture of a Ford Scorpio on my screen now.
Blobby.
Yeah.
that brings us on to our big announcement, actually, that now we're rounding off series 3. And the big announcement is that Andy's leaving the podcast.
Yeah.
It's just me and you now, Joe, and then everybody else. Yeah, go on, keep walking.
Is 993s on tonight because it's going free to a good home?
Yeah. The anniversary was exactly like the inspiration, really, for me, thinking, well, you know, surely something can be done here, because that's just a small change to the 991's layout. And doesn't it make just such a difference? And everybody is already, you know, whether it's a new GT car, people are doing the houndstooth or Peter seat insert.
Hello.
You can now get them, can't you, for us older owners, 996, 997s, you can get pole positions with the houndstooth inserts. You know, we're really entering these realms of being able to kind of customize these cars true to the heritage of. And I just think, yeah, surely, you know, someone needs to carpe diem, seize the day, and just do a proper interior.
Totally.
I think there's been a bit of a lull. Like, I think there's been, I don't know whether it's maybe a 10-year sort of gap of people have stopped customizing and playing with their cars. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. It's like, there used to be loads of modifying, loads of custom stuff going on. And it's like the last 10 years, it's just died a death. And it feels like we're coming out the other end where people are just starting to get a bit bored of having, something boring.
Joe, I think that a lot of that is linked into people saw rising values and originality and this whole thing. So they were frightened of doing something to it. But if you look at the States,
full steam ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find a car and it's complete Heinz. I mean, there's bits from everywhere and stuff. And I think with the plentiful stock of the 996, to be able to put your own, to get in that car, I think, I've changed the instruments, I've changed the door cards, I've got my seat inserts and got my Apple CarPlay and all those sort of bits and pieces. I think it's great.
But I think one of the reasons for that lull, Joe, was the manufacturers. Some of the manufacturers also moved into that space and was kind of offering that as off the options list as well. They were moving a little bit. So,
that's a good point. Good point.
I think it's worth just mentioning first of all to Andy that there's a fair few 996 owners on the Zoom call. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to join us. The Zoom code is there if you want to get involved and tell Andy how wrong he is. Then we really welcome. But again, in the comments as well, there's a lot of love for the 996. Raznam Tawana says, I think the 996 dash might get better with age. I agree with that. Totally. Again, completely biased there. No. Yeah. Andy, you got to remember it's half your audience here.
Let's revisit this in 5 years.
Yeah, but isn't the instrument binnacle the same as the Carrera GT?
There's a fair bit. I say a fair bit. I think it's the door handles. But yeah, you're right in terms of the
Carrera GT definitely feels a little bit 996.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes the good bits. Maybe.
There is an argument I've said before that you would not have the Carrera GT without the 996. It's as simple as that, because it was the Carrera, it was the 996 and the 986 Boxster, which saved the company. Don't forget, Porsche in the late 90s was going under, like literally would not exist. Max wouldn't have his 997 and 991 since, and blah, blah, blah. None of us would own the cars we do. So you've gone from the late 90s where the car was going under to the mid noughties where Porsche's producing the iconic Carrera GT. Now, the only thing that's happened in that time is, yes, the Cayenne. But
that might have helped just a little bit.
No. Before that, before Porsche could even do the R&D on all of that, it created a twin platform sports car appealing to 911 owners and open top 2-seat sports car owners, and it was the sales from that saved the company. It is a fact. So you would not have a Carrera GT without a 996.
Yeah, but if you go back to your interview with Pinky Lau, talks about the Friday headlights. Reason was very economical to manufacture.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's it. Yeah. So how do you like them onions, Andy, anyway?
I think that sums up the 996 though. Economical to manufacture.
No, because it was spread across 2 cars.
Yeah, exactly that. And the 993 obviously broke the company. So yeah, don't know how's that anyway.
Is anybody getting bored of 996 love?
No, we're carrying on.
Jesus Christ.
The 996 C2 is a lot lighter than a 993.
Yeah, and fast.
That's because it's made out of bloody paper. Anyway,
Chris Evans is fuming right now, ladies and gentlemen.
He's not fuming; he's just bored.
Come on, then. What else can we talk about? Something non-996 related.
Yeah, I've got a question for
Toby.
Paul, actually.
Okay,
go on then. Go for it.
I've got a question for Paul because I talked about it when I was answering my 10 questions, but all my information on it is based on stuff that I've read. What experience do you have, Paul, of the 993 RS? Have you had one, looked at one, driven one, decided not to buy one? Because I love them. I know you've driven it, Lee.
But Paul P, you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be me.
The answer is I haven't driven one. It is definitely on the agenda to drive one. There was an absolutely beautiful one that Lee Maxted Page had, which when I went up there and saw it, was like all over it. And it was bought by, I think, Mark Sumter bought it. That might have been a GT2, actually.
Yes, Mark bought a black GT2, didn't he?
Yeah. Probably more of a GT2 than the RS for me would be one to try. But until I do, I don't know. Not sure.
What about you, Lee? You've driven the RS, haven't you? 993 RS. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I drove one. It wasn't a club sport. It was, it was the non-club sport with, the wing that, what does it look like? It kind of looks like a whale tail, doesn't it, really? But not the biplanes number. Hey, Mandy, how are you?
Hi, guys. Drunk.
Honest.
That is first class. Straight to the point. Love it. The example I drove, I think it was Midnight Blue. It's from Hexagon. It's a few years ago now. Driving it out of London, obviously Hexagon are based Highgate, aren't they? North London. Made no sense through towns, like a typical Rennsport, really. It's not until you push on where you just think, oh, actually, everything starts to make sense. The lightweight clutch, the steering, the chassis. It is such a phenomenal car. I prefer it to a 964. I've made kind of noises about 964 RSs before. I think a 993 RS is probably, in terms of like all encompassing, I just think it's one of the best 911 experiences you can have. It's the ultimate expression of air-cooled 911, isn't it? It has to be said. You've gone from 65 to 95. All of that evolution from the 2-litre car right up to that 3.8 litre, high revving, lightweight, just wonderful car. And again, it's all about the weighting of everything. It's absolutely spot on. Absolutely
different to the Carrera.
Yeah, like noticeably so as well. Again, this goes back to the 964 RS, you know, to open up that can of worms.
Yeah.
I believe that my problem with the 964 RS, and in isolation, it is a phenomenal car. In the realms of 911 Rennsport, it wouldn't be in my top 5. And my reason for that is you can buy a 964 C2, say like Joe's, for less than half the price of an RS, and it does not deliver half the car. It's as simple as that.
Third of the price.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, 964 C2s that, you know, they've had a lot of heat in them. You know.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them, you know,
yeah.
you would trade 6 figures for at a time. You know, you could buy a C2, you could modify it, you'd make a car that's better than a Porsche factory RS. With a 993, it's really hard to do that, and the same with any other sort of RS generation. That's the problem I have with the 964 RS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't different enough, was it?
Agreed.
No.
Agreed. Totally.
It was the diluted RS, really, wasn't it? I think they sort of went a bit soft on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you just have to look to, well, what did, you know, if Porsche thought it was absolutely perfect out the box, you know, well, why have we got a 964 RS 3.8 then? You know, they're kind of simple as that, really. Why did Jürgen Buff bother messing around with a C4 lightweight and all that sort of stuff? So there were itches to be scratched at that time, I think.
Yeah. So how do we know the production numbers of 993 RSs?
I'll tell you, because I've got a copy of Total 911 right here.
I think it was about 1,300, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
I believe
you prepared earlier.
The brown envelope, but I've got the brown envelope somewhere.
Yeah. Let's guess. Let's guess. I'm going to say 1150.
Okay, I was going to say less than 1,000.
I'm going to get 1,000 on the nose.
I'm going to say 1,250.
I'm going to say 911.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good call.
I'll say 10.
We need Andy and John.
1275.
1275. John?
888. Isn't it?
888. Okay. So, and this is gospel because it's a quality publication. It is, okay, production numbers, according to Total 911 magazine, 1,014. I think, Joe, I think you're Bob on,
I'll take
probably
that.
wrong.
Okay, so that's quite interesting.
And 49 right-hand drive. 7
Only 49
sports. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that is correct. There are 7 right-hand drive club sports. Not yeah.
Okay, so we've got 2,200 and something 964 RSs. Yeah, 2,200 and I think it was 2,227.
Oh, look
wow, quite a few more.
There's a lot more, yeah.
I expect you to know this off by heart, Lee. You know, being editor.
I'm going senile. I'm 32. 2,405 964 RS.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 2,000.
Yeah, touring lightweight and NGT.
Wow.
Okay, so you then got what 1,400 and something 73 RSs.
1590, yeah.
15, right? Okay, 1590. So the rarest RS is 996.
The rarest RS is technically the SCRS, but it was a competition car. So the rarest road-going Rennsport will probably be the 997 GT2 RS. There were 500.
Okay.
964 RS 3.8. There were 55, but that includes the RSR race cars.
Wow. Okay.
And only one C16 right-hand drive UK RS 3.8.
Really interesting.
Yeah, red. God's red.
Red
Dario.
for sale at Hairpin Company at the moment.
It is. Do we know how much?
£1.25 million or thereabouts.
Okay, next question.
And in terms of 993 RS right-hand drive, there were two that went through Silverstone auctions last summer or September. Both they really look lovely. One was a black car with the big wing kit on it, and one was a red car with the small wing, which I think ended up at one of the Hartleys, Tom Hartley Jr. And they both went for the same money. They went for 315,000 each.
Wow.
They both look lovely. I thought that seemed, obviously it's a lot of money, but I thought that seemed good value for a really rare and really special Rennsport 911.
So with premium, that's about 350, or was that?
I don't know if that was with premium or not. That's just what they published on their website afterwards. So I don't know if that included buyer's premium.
Yeah, I know we're talking about serious money, but I agree with you. I don't think that is, in terms of Porsche numbers and what we've just discussed, I don't think that's silly.
Yeah.
All relative, isn't it, I suppose? I want to just deflate the 964 RS 3.8 balloon slightly and talk about Carrera. There was a brilliant question earlier on. So yes, from Toby Dyer, one of our Patreons. Toby, you're always so brilliant in getting involved. Come on the Zoom, mate. We'd like to see you.
See your face. Come on.
Yeah, but Toby says, question for Joe: how was the air ride in the 964? Really good question. This.
That was my question as well.
Yeah. What have you learned about it? Toby opines that it's a fascinating car and would like to know more. So I think, that's a really good question. Is the air ride as kind of calamitous as we all expect it to be or think it might be in terms of handling?
I think it's bloody brilliant, actually.
What system is it, Joe? Is it it's pretty modern one, isn't it?
Yeah, it was literally brand new last July, August time. It's the Airlift Performance Kit. So I think it's American-made stuff. But the technology's come on a lot because I've sort of envisaged old school air ride, which is pretty, it sort of bumbles down the road and it crashes around and it's pretty useless. The new stuff is miles different. They've come on a lot. So the ride's really, really good. I've been really impressed. I mean, my intention was to get it back and pull it off and put some coilovers on it. But actually, quite the opposite. I think it's really, really good. Definitely a serious alternative if people are looking to do something different suspension wise, I think.
How much is the kit, Joe? Do you know? I know it came on the car when you bought it.
It's not cheap. It's about $4,000 ish. It's a fairly expensive bit of kit. But it's I think the way they work now is very different. It's actually, you've got control over it, which is obviously nice, but the actual ride is really, really good. Sorry, go on.
What sort of control do you have? Is it as in ride height, but also performance around cornering?
Yeah, it's ride height and it's pressure in the shocks as well. So you've actually got some dampening control as well. And then they do, it's not on my car, but they do an add-on where they actually do where you can have some preset ride height adjustment as well. So you can literally dial in by the millimeter if you want it weighted corner wise. So that's quite clever as a bolt on. But there's people running the same setup on track cars, which really surprised me. They're actually they've been testing them that way. There's all sorts of really, really good motorsport stuff that is starting to certainly test it anyway, not necessarily race with it, but to run it on the track, which really surprised me. They've come a long way. So I went full circle really. I was completely set on taking them off, and now I'm quite happy to leave it on.
I followed you at the weekend, and
what does it look like to follow?
It looked great. Just looked like a well set up suspension. Didn't you weren't jigging all about everywhere, or nothing looked strange. Where I have seen air ride cars before that ride quite weirdly, but it looked all very natural and you wouldn't know it. Sat at the sort of ride height that you had when you're actually driving it, it just looks like a normal car.
No, it'd be good to pass it around, see what other people think of it as well.
So there's a question there, would Joe now airfit any of his other cars? Can't quite see the Rangy doing that.
I think they're on air anyway, aren't they? The old Range Rover.
Yeah, I think they are actually. That was a bit.
I think that's why they sort of ride quite well. No plans to at the moment. Would I consider it? I think potentially. I think it's it's a novelty thing on the one for me, really. I suppose it's would you spend half the money and have a decent coilover setup? Probably, if you were spending the money from scratch. But would you spend double the money to have the adjustment? Maybe. I mean, it's a little bit of a party trick. I think it all depends if you really, if you're into that kind of stuff, then it's brilliant because it also drives well. You're not compromising both ways.
I think it was a really interesting buy, that car, because you've got your 964 and something a bit different on it, and I think it's it certainly looks good in the pics and in the flesh.
Needs those wheels sorting though.
Andy doesn't like my wheels. He said they need a bit of fettling.
They're just a bit flat, aren't they?
I did speak to one the other day about getting you got quite a big, the dish on the rim's quite big, and about getting those polished. So I reckon if we've got those polished and lacquered, that might just be enough to give them a lift.
There's a guy somewhere near ZRS, isn't there? Somewhere, not Nutfield, but whatever, one of the other states.
There's a couple of people around. So it's I think that'd be a worthwhile effort. But not other than that, there's not much to report on the old 964. I'm enjoying it, using it a lot.
Good.
So somebody's saying, can you recommend any Porsche events this summer? I think apparently there's something on the 3rd of July. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, aren't we doing something? Oh, is that on the 3rd of July?
It is, 3rd of July.
I'm going to put that in the diary.
Best do, yeah. Pop 3rd of July in your calendars, everybody.
I said I'm washing my lockdown hair, but
hopefully you'll have it cut off by then.
Saturday.
Saturday the 3rd of July. Save the date.
What are we doing, Andy?
A secret.
Is it?
Yeah, more details to come.
Bloody good secret so far.
Well,
in terms of the location, the general location, Andy, where is it? Is it Midlands wise? Where?
Northamptonshire.
Northamptonshire.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
We're coming to your house, Paul, and we're there.
You don't know. We're all coming to stay.
Yeah. We've got a big place. There's plenty of room to put a tent.
Excellent.
And a DLS on offer to just test drive. Is that right?
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, raffle one off, definitely. Pound a strip. That'd be all.
You must remember
this is a family
the
show,
Johnny
Lee.
That would be quality. So it's in Northampton. It's like obviously we know the location.
We know. I think let's not go into much detail at the moment because it's all a bit sort of depending on government guidelines at the time. So
it's looking likely though. What's the
it's looking likely. We've got the venue booked, but don't know how many people it can carry yet.
Do you know rough capacity of cars? Just give us an idea.
They're running an event in the next couple of weeks, which will sort of guide us in how many we can do. So it's kind of up in the air at the moment.
We just need to make sure it doesn't turn into a 996 fest.
Absolutely, yeah.
That heart-sinking moment, Joe, when you realise our audience. It's just a sea of 996s on the Amazing. I'd love it.
Excuse me, I've got a 986. Can I just say?
It's all it's all
perfect.
Good.
You can't so actually what 986, 996 will be at the front of this event.
Yeah, maybe.
If you want to turn up in an RS 4 litre, you have to back me.
Exactly that.
What other events are people potentially putting in the diary then?
We've got tickets for the Silverstone Classic, which are carrying over from the previous year because of COVID. Which I don't know if you guys have ever been, but it's a fantastic meeting.
Yeah, I've been probably maybe 10 years ago when it was the what anniversary of Porsche would that have been?
Yeah.
It was a great event.
That was it. The 2013 50th anniversary of the 911, or
I think it was. Yeah. I think I didn't own one then. No.
You were only 49 back then, Andy, weren't you?
I rocked up in an old camper van.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bet you wish you had a 996.
And a camper.
Wait for the dagger.
Yeah. So what else has everybody else got set up?
I think the Rensport Collective job, is that happening again?
Yeah. Somebody sent a message earlier on about it. Actually, Kenny said to something about we go. We had a really good time there this year.
Yeah.
Really, the quality cars there was pretty impressive.
Oh, and that's without the European people there.
Yeah.
It was it was great. It was it was the last thing we all did before proper lockdown again.
Well, it was the only. I think it was the only event that I attended last year. Thinking about it.
Yeah.
Apart from,
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I saw Paul the other day, actually, Paul Goudon, and he said it's definitely happening. He's got a venue. He's got the date. I forget what date he said. It's a Sunday again, I think.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
It looks like Paul is actually on. There's just been a comment come up on YouTube. Yes, it is.
Can I ask as well, is Kenny working for Ren 21? Because like 80% of his comments is about this.
Yeah, Kenny does all the logistics, doesn't he, Paul?
Is he on commission as well for yeah? Because if he does, he's going to retire after tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to oil cooled Boxham Gas up the road for you, Paul.
Yeah.
That was awesome last year. That was one of the few events last year.
I've never done it. I've always intended to, but sometimes something else has been in the way. But it's I've taken my car to Auto Farm. I mean, there is an Auto Farm story with me. I first met Josh and saw Auto Farm when I was like 15 years old. And
wow.
That was my introduction to Porsche.
Right.
And when I bought the 996, I took it back to Auto Farm to get the full health check. But yeah, it's a fabulous location. And Frank,
tremendous. Frank Cassidy's collection is something else as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a lovely guy too.
Yeah.
But I always used to, for years going back, used to see Auto Farm advertised when they moved around various places, and I'd never met Josh. I met him a couple of years ago. We had an amazing conversation. I mean, what a fountain of knowledge that guy is. I think he's more a consultant to the business now. Is that right?
He is now, yeah. But when I took my 996 there, they just acquired the Trinidad RS, and they'd stripped it out completely. And I'm not sure where the progress is now. I've not heard anything about it. I might have to take a drive down there at the weekend actually and see what they're doing with it.
So if I remember rightly, that was they think the last 973 RS right-hand drive ever produced.
Yeah.
So you go on, as Joe, as you know, when you go on holiday in the Caribbean, Long Creek, they somebody discovered this literally, wasn't it, Paul, in a next to a palm tree.
Yeah, it was just in a shed basically. It wasn't in the barn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I need to go back out and do some more searching for lost cars.
Yeah, there's a road to red stripe there.
Yeah.
Road to red stripe. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, you do wonder there can't be too many barns left kind of unearthed on this planet that's kind of hiding an old school Porsche collection in there that's ready to be revived.
Well, I went to see a year ago. This guy said, "Oh, this friend of mine's got a 1973 RS or whatever." Oh, yeah, right. I turned up at this house, and there were literally a shell with weeds growing out of it, and then a box of bits, which was an Italian original 73 RS. I didn't get involved and didn't buy it, but somebody did, and it's currently being restored. Wow. And it was literally cows munching grass around it.
They are still out there then.
Yeah. But actually, I think what we need to be doing is when people start to bring their 964s and their 993s and actually reimagining them as 996s.
Happy to do so.
That's all in the
been away
past.
for 5 minutes and we're back on 996.
I know, yeah. They had to take it back there, didn't they, Max?
We have to finish on a high.
I'll just go back to the events. I've just seen someone's asked a question on there about the run to Denmark with David from Nazumi. I think I think that might, we don't know where that is, I think, at the moment, because obviously it's dependent on travel plans, isn't it? I mean, I'd love to do that, but I think we're not sure whether we're going to be cross-continent. I don't know if anyone else is planning on going across the sea or not.
I spoke to him. There is a venue. I forget the village name. I've even booked a hotel. He asked to book very early on because they were all getting booked up.
Yeah.
My only reservation, this is personally speaking, is at the time government advice was saying, don't even think about going abroad, basically, for kind of foreign holidays and stuff. And I know it was kind of a while away, but I think what we have realized in this whole kind of pandemic situation is to expect the unexpected. I mean, we all just don't know where we're going to be in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
Let alone 6 months' time. So I'm sort of reticent for any event really abroad to go booking anywhere. And yeah, I just think this year might just be kind of a
road to West Bay, Lee.
And just kind of staying kind of British. I think really, I'd love to go away. I really would, but it's just there are so many variables. It almost takes away the fun of it for me.
Yeah.
Well, it might be a last minute one. We never know.
So I'm assuming it's Paul at Rensport Collector said the Trinidad isn't quite finished yet. We've done a film on it. Well, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah,
okay, be good to see that.
Ooh.
I'm guessing. I wonder if that'll make an appearance at Ren 21. I wonder if it's.
I'm sure
it's finished for that.
I'm sure it will. I mean, it's been. I was thinking earlier. I was actually on Auto Farm's website earlier, and on their media section, you scroll down a few years back. There was a video done on the Trinidad car. It was a long time ago now. So I totally appreciate they've moved and whatnot since. So. It'd be nice to kind of work out what's happened to that car because it has gone quiet. So yeah, we'll look forward to the film on that. MC's asked the question. I'll put it to Andy and Joe. What's your earliest memory or introduction to Porsche? And then let's open it up to the floor as maybe a final question to wrap up the pod in the evening.
Go on, Andy. What was yours?
Mine's 1983. I think I've recalled the story before. Stood outside the paper shop where I used to go and get my papers in the morning to go and deliver down the road, and a 911 red, I believe it would probably been maybe a turbo or a Carrera. Definitely had a whale tail. Pulled up outside the shop to overtake a milk float, and then it disappeared up the road, and I was just there spellbound by it. So that's my earliest recollection of yuppie Porsches.
Nice. Not. This is genuinely not a play on your age. But it was. I know you said it was 1983, but how old were you genuinely?
I would have been 13.
13. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Absolutely excellent. Yeah, it's a good early memory ingrained in the crate.
Ingrained, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Joe, what about yourself?
What was the earliest memory?
Yeah.
I messed around with lots of really, really old Volkswagens. So I used to go to lots of the VW shows as a kid, and there was always that kind of cross pollination with Porsche. So I think but they were, for me then they were the unobtainable. They were these super expensive, super shiny. You just didn't get a look in type. Amazing to see, but so that was my early memories. Things like VW Action back in the day at like Three County Showground and stuff, when there'd be mad big busy events, and you'd get this splattering of really nice high level stuff. Slightly later to that, I got involved with some of the Volkswagen drag racing stuff, and I remember quite distinctly there's one chap there who had quite a big media company, so he used to have quite a nice collection of cars, and he rocked up in a white Club Sport with the red writing down the side, and Carrera, and that was that really stuck in my mind. And
calm down, Andy.
Yeah. But that for me, that was probably where it all kicked off.
Spot on.
What about you, Lee? What was yours?
Mine was
your first day at T911.
Oh, they're all the same, these Porsches, aren't they?
No.
996.
You totally winged it, didn't you? You weren't sure it was a ducktail, a whale tail, or a tea tray, but you winged the interview.
It's a Carrera's tail. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. My first Porsche memory is actually quite distinct. So my dad's best mate turned up. He actually owned a printing company, actually, funny enough. He turned up with a Guards Red 964 Carrera cab. So it wasn't brand new. I reckon 3 was out at the time, but I was it was late 90s, so I was less than 10. And he said, "Oh, I'll take your boy out for a drive." And I've said it a couple of times before. We'd gone bombing through the Essex countryside, roof down, beautiful summer's evening. And I was actually genuinely scared of the car because this just almighty racket was coming from behind us rather than in front, which is where I've always known the engine in a car to be, So I just had this kind of vision of kind of being like sucked up and over the seat and into the engine behind from underneath my seatbelt into this raucous noise. So like genuinely, I was scared of the 911 before I loved it, really. Kind of weird, but that's definitely the first one for me. Funny thing is, he only had it for like 4 or 5 months. It was definitely like, not long at all. He had an accident and wrote it off, and it's quite funny. There's a saying, isn't there, of 70% of all Porsches bought are still on the road, and I go, well, I know one that isn't. Yeah, let's open the question up anyway. Max, let's start with you. Your first Porsche thing. It might be a family affair with you, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm not sure really. I can't recall not being interested in Porsches, to be honest. As I talked about on the podcast, my dad was a big influence. So, he would have been putting car magazines in front of me and buying me Matchbox miniatures and corgis of 911s before I really knew what they were. But I do recall when we lived up in Gateshead in Newcastle. So we left there in, I think, maybe 85. So it would have been between 80 and 85. One of our neighbours in the cul-de-sac that we lived in was a bookie, and he had a black 911 3.2 Carrera. So I remember seeing that a lot. And that was also the time that Condor Man came out. And I've written about Condor Man in T911, the bad guys with the black 911s. That was certainly an influence on me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I desperately wanted a black 911 when I bought mine. So I think it's,
nice.
Probably those.
Yeah, nice, mate, nice. I realise I've been incredibly rude as well, and we should have gone ladies first with Deb. So Deb, we'll cut you in. What's your earliest?
Weirdly, mine is a Volkswagen Jeans Beetle in the 70s, because I am that old, literally. And that was a teacher taking me into town, and because it was so curvy. And then I love custom cars after that. So I always went to custom shows and things like that. And it wasn't until I met Paul that I even knew Porsches had anything to do with Volkswagen and Beetles. And that's when I fell in love with them after that. Up until that point, I actually probably hated them because I worked in London and they were like bankers. Literally hated them. Then after that, I was like, oh my God, actually, this is a curvy car that I love. Yeah, totally. So that's jeans, orange, probably 1972 Volkswagen Beetle is mine.
Nice. Paul, you've done well, I think, there to help the Porsche cause for Deb.
How did he do that?
Awesome.
I've got a...
Oh, go on, Nick. Go on. Yeah, go for it.
I assume you were going to invite me. I've got a very distinct memory, and I'm also probably a lot older than a lot of you here. I was born in Nairobi in Kenya. Very distinct introduction to a Porsche rally car, Safari, because it was on our doorstep. It was a massive event around Easter time. It used to be a huge event. So I distinctly remember seeing these Porsches flying by. And fell in love with them. And for many years, I thought they were only rally cars. I had no idea they were road-going sports cars because that's all I saw. Wow. And I subsequently found out they were 911 factory-entered ST/Rs, I think, something like that model. So I remember looking that up.
Start at the top, Nick.
Wow. Incredible. So to this day, having reintroduced myself to Porsche, where I can now afford some of them, certainly back of my mind is getting some kind of Safari. Not quite the singer end, but some kind of Safari. Maybe a 996 Safari would be the perfect, candidate.
That's a cool idea.
Back there again.
Let's work on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is like Max said, start at the top there, I think.
Were there any sort of in a ditch that people picked up for nothing? And probably
996s, plenty of them.
Brave, Joe. Very brave.
It's turning to hate now.
Mr.
Isn't it?
Pressler,
Lee's put one back together for us.
Mr. Pressler, what's your memory?
Well, it was really simple. Parents divorced. Dad went up to London. I was down in Dorset, and Dad used to come down and see us at my grandparents' house. And he turned up one day in this sepia brown 2.4S.
Oh, lovely.
Love brown.
Nice.
Oh, and at that time, we went off to the shops, and I was in the front, being the eldest. Kate, my sister, in the back. Justin, my little brother, who's not so little now. Some of you guys have met him, and just that roar and that sound and acceleration was just amazing. So that was my introduction was this 2.4 sepia brown, followed by a 3-litre bronze turbo with tartan interior.
Oh,
Proper period color set.
Like the tartan.
Yeah. So it was partly the Porsche, partly seeing my dad, and just this thing was just, you're in Dorset, and this thing turns up from London. I don't know how many Porsches there were in Dorset at that time. Probably more Ferraris, because the original Ferrari importer was a guy called Colonel Hoare, where Tesco's is in Branksome. For those that know, was where English Ford were, and that was the original Ferrari imported into the UK. So there were more Ferraris than there were Porsches. So that was my introduction.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Who have we got? Let's just go Mr. Van der Loen. What's your memory?
Yeah, mine. I think I related my story on Road to Redline. Again, it goes back a long, long way. I was at school playing hooky, bunking off on the train into London to have a bit of fun. Probably 14, maybe 15. And the train line stopped at Amersham, where Josh had, that was the original Auto Farm showroom, factory, workshop. And all my mates used to carry on straight into London. I used to get off at Amersham, so I could cross the road and look in the workshop, look in the showroom, and there was a white 2.7 Carrera with green script. And I just saw that and thought, that is it. And if ever you come to my humble abode here, you'll see homage to it in my garage. I've got an original photograph of that model car from the original brochure. And I said to myself, walking back into the station, I'm going to have a Porsche. It took a long, long time, but I've got one.
Spot on, my friend. Yeah,
well done.
Worth it as well. Awesome. John?
Just very briefly, the earliest memory, as the question was probably about 1972, going to the local cinema and watching that original Le Mans film.
Cool.
Just stuck in my memory there. So,
good call.
Yeah. But then it took a long time before I ever got one.
That's awesome. Actually, I watched that Le Mans on Amazon earlier this year when we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
Something mad, like 38 minutes before anyone speaks. But the whole thing is just
good. That film is so good,
isn't it? Yeah, like the sheer cinematography of that is just absolutely amazing. So I'd have loved to have seen that in the cinema, John, like you did. You know, that'd been awesome.
Yeah. Come on, in Reigate. It was a long time ago.
Still got my first black 911 here. I kept this from when I was a kid. It's a German Siku diecast 911 turbo in JPS. Interesting.
That's so cool as well.
God, I saw a JPS 930 turbo on maybe it was on Instagram in the last few days in full JPS colours. Looked amazing.
Absolutely. I got this from a toy shop in Norwich when I was staying with my granddad. Prized possession.
Oh,
That's cool, man. That is
Brilliant.
Well, look, we
Very good.
better wrap this up, I think, hadn't we? On
We've got one thing to do, which is do the prize draw for the Group C picture.
oh yeah, very good, very good.
I'm just going to bring up a thing which says there's 31 entries into the competition. How do I share my screen? There we go. That was a tester, so we're going to redo that one.
Oh, look at
And I'm going to spin the wheel if we're all ready.
Didn't even know there was a competition.
You entered it, Paul.
oh, this is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, of course I did. Yeah.
We hope so because you've won it.
Well, number 15's won it, so I'll just count down. Might be a second one. 2, 4, 5, 6.
Make sure you count them right, Andy.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. JP Sponsorship has won the. It's the winner.
Brilliant.
Excellent, absolutely.
There we
excellent.
go. We'll get his details over to you, Max.
Excellent. Yeah, I will get the print issued to him quickly. I think I know who that is, actually. I think we
Do
chat
you?
occasionally on Instagram. James Pierce, I think his name is.
I think that, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Absolutely spot on.
Delighted to get that out to him.
Yeah,
Oh,
excellent.
actually, Roy Evans has come up with a really, really good thing, and I think that's great. I'd like to hear Andy, Lee, and Joe answer the 10 quick questions.
That is a really good one. Yeah.
Nice one, Roy.
That is quite funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, guys. We've got them written down. No, we don't. Normally, what you do is you go. One of us has got them written down. Then there's a load of shuffling of papers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Pause the podcast and
Yeah.
out while someone finds it.
you can say.
Right, okay, so
Are they written down?
I can find
just-
them.
I can probably find them. Yeah.
we can probably remember them. We'll do them in all kinds of orders.
All right, then go on.
So
Freestyle it.
you've got a quick fire answers. Air or water?
Air.
Air.
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High quality H2O.
Okay, so is somebody writing this down? So to fook or not to fook?
Not to fuck.
The fake.
Ook.
Fook.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Guys, I'm going to need your help on this. Max, and everybody.
It's like the generation game. Can you remember?
Favourite
Yeah.
Porsche model?
Yeah. Porsche Icon.
Your phone.
Or what we doing? Porsche Icon or Porsche Model?
Okay. Let's go with Max's one, which was model.
Or 997 GT3 RS 3.8.
Can you be more specific? Or not?
White with red.
That's all.
Joe, Andy?
Go on, Joe.
I'd probably go ST, having had a little go in one fairly recently. That's kind of pushed right up my list. I'll tell you what. That's yeah.
Have you got recovered? Your eardrums recovered?
What was that?
Yeah.
964 RS for me.
Okay.
Was that 996 GT3 RS, Andy?
No, 964 RS. You misheard me.
I'm really surprised at that one, actually. And not you question people, but I would have thought you would have said 3.2 Club Sport.
Got to be up there. It has to be.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
It would be in top 5 for me. Yeah, it wouldn't be number 1, but it'd be top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite Porsche Icon, which is different than a model. Or
So this is a person, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, go on, Andy. You got someone on the tip of your tongue, or?
Well, I think I said previously old Magnus, because he did sort of really get me into wanting to buy one, I think.
Nice. That's
So
it.
yeah, old Magnus.
Good
I
approach.
I said the same thing with you, and I sort of thought about it afterwards, and actually, yes, it was this sort of getting you back into the stuff.
Yeah. His film was just like,
Yeah.
fuck it, I really want a Porsche from that film, that half an hour Urban Outlaw film.
An outlaw, yeah.
So
It
so
was-
it's him we have to blame for you being. in
Yeah,
this
for me
sort of-
being here, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I think it's came up before, and that was my answer before, Magnus as well, which is it's a bit of a broken record. But yeah, I'm going to stick with it because I think it's, yeah, he definitely flies the flag. I think that's, like I said, from a custom point of view, there's not that many people out there doing it.
Yeah, and he's no bullshit, is he? He's just a genuine person.
Yeah, he's
proper
take
bloke.
what you find him, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go for Vic Elford. I think he's a
Yeah.
absolute legend, the man that took the 911 rally and racing to success.
Quick Vic.
Quick Vic indeed.
Okay, stock or hot rod?
Hot rod.
Yeah. See, okay. I think I said stock when we did this at series 1, episode 1 or 2. I said stock. I'm pretty sure. I would probably go hot rod now.
Same as me, Lee.
Yeah, it's got to be. Isn't it? It's got to be. Nothing wrong with a bit of individual flair.
Is this having fettled with your 996? Is that where that's come from?
I just think sometimes, the factory's perfect. If you look at like a 997 GT3 RS 3.8, like I said, I mean it's as damn near perfect as can be out the box, but then people like Sharkworks come along and do a 4.1 and you just go, oh my god, that thing's so awesome. So yeah, out the box the factory is amazing, isn't it? But there are some phenomenal projects. There are some howlers as well, don't get me wrong, but like I say, each their own, horses for courses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Royd is helping me out big time on this.
Oh, good lad.
Colour, Porsche colour.
Murano green.
Good choice. I think I'm still quite obsessed with Ruby Stone. It's still up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ruby Stone, not on every car though, not on a modern car.
No.
Me.
True.
Irish for me, sad, but yes, that's why I painted it. Love it.
What about you?
Yeah.
I think Guards Red.
Did you?
Guards Red. Yeah,
Well,
classic.
I'm going to come back to the Guards Red thing because there was a very interesting thing put around. Rear seats in the 911 or not?
I'm going to say yes, but only because when you fold them down, they make a cracking parcel shelf.
Yeah.
You can get. I've had televisions on the back of that. Do you know what I mean? So you can't
get a lot of wine on the back of it.
It's
not a huge amount of weight there, is there? And it adds versatility. So I stick with them.
Yeah.
Also, I've had a pair of 215/52 wheels on the back, another one on the seat in the front. So I've got 4 sets in a 911. I tell you, a full set in 911.
We was going to say heels at one point.
No, that was. We went to a Cars and Coffee morning at Winchester Autobahn.
That was funny.
And they had Rod Stewart's old Lamborghini Miura. I mean, one of the, in my humble view, the most beautiful cars ever produced.
Yeah.
And when they restored it, they found some punch holes in the headlining. Yeah. And apparently,
that's hilarious.
I can't remember what was her name.
Britt Eklund. Yeah.
It was Britt Eklund's heels.
That's amazing.
That's got to be worth so much more money for that.
Be libelous as well.
The other question, of course, is was it track day or Cars and Coffee? Was that
Cars and Coffee or track day?
I'm still Cars and Coffee.
I'm going to say track day because I think you can do a Cars and Coffee at a track day as well, but you can't do a track day at Cars and Coffee.
Possibly.
Next occupation, Lee, politician.
Yeah, no, track day all round, I think. Yeah, definitely a track day.
Track day.
Track day for
sure.
sure.
Track day as well. Interesting, Andy. Yeah,
okay.
I thought Andy would be a Cars and Coffee guy.
Yeah. The other question, I don't know if Paul or Royd's onto it, but it was what's your favourite track, isn't it?
Yes. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah. So what would you boys say? What would anyone say?
I can't remember. I think I said Spa, but that was just like a quick fire thing way back then. I would say Cadwell because I've actually ridden Cadwell on a motorbike. Yeah, well, nearly crashed, nearly high-sided on, but yeah, that little circuit is crazy. Yeah. Such an amazing little circuit in the UK, and you've been there, Joe, haven't you? I think.
Yeah, we went last year with the Cayman. It was cracking. I reckon. Yeah, Cadwell's right up there, definitely. Yeah. I still really enjoy Silverstone, the full circuit.
Do you? Yeah.
I think that's I enjoy. I like the fact you can see. Yeah, it's quite open, and initially it's a bit strange because it's quite you feel like it's quite flat because everything's obviously painted on the floor. As obviously someone like Cadwell, you've got banks, barriers, trees, everything else trying to kill you at once. And I think I think
definite. Yeah,
all of those things.
Talking of that, Joe, I would say when I did my road to Redline, I said Spa, but in recent days, I would say the Ring, Nürburgring, because with news of Sabine recently, it reminded me of taking a hire car or a hire van around there when I was doing F2.
Fastest car is a hire car.
It was, yeah. We went round in a van.
Excellent.
I think it was a Fiat Ducato or something. I don't know. But I don't know if you guys watched the tribute to Sabine. It was an amazing thing, and she was an incredible driver.
No, wasn't she just? Yeah.
So
unbelievable. Well, actually, we've lost a couple of real icons, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And Prince Philip, what a legend.
Yeah, yeah. And Murray, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the privilege of having many conversations and indeed dinners with him. Incredible man, incredible, and so humble as well.
Yeah. Oh, break the mold when they made those.
Yeah, indeed.
So, guys, have we covered all the questions? Have we missed any?
We have. Yeah,
I think we missed one actually, and that is narrow or wide body.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is narrow every day of the week.
I'm going narrow. I'm definitely narrow. Narrow.
Difficult. Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm going to go wide.
Yeah, I think.
Even though I've got a narrow body, 993 is kind of wide body anyway.
Max and I actually last week had this conversation. So I'm going to say here and now, wide body. But I think in 5 years' time, I think the appeal of a traditional narrow-bodied 911, either 997 or 991, I think will be looked on really fondly, just because it's different, just because every 911 now has got a big bum on it.
You're ahead of the curve, Lee. You're ahead of the curve.
The narrow curve.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying it all the time. So,
but it was really interesting. I was really lucky. My dad came down on Tuesday for my oldest birthday. We haven't obviously seen family for a long time. He came down, and he was telling me about driving an early narrow-body 911 around London, and just how he just can't imagine driving one of the latest Astons around, because he said you just can't drive those cars. You can't nip in and out and duck and weave as you can with them. And narrow is, wide's great, but I think narrow is better practically.
Are we still on 911s or?
We better wrap it up. It's been a fantastic couple of hours chat. On behalf of Joe and Andy, the Road to Redline trio, thank you to everybody joining on Zoom here, but also in the comments as well.
Absolutely,
but particularly John as well, I have to say, because we prized you to put the video on, and you might have just been thinking, I'll just dive in for 5 minutes and bugger off again and get off my evening, and we've crowbarred you in for 2 hours. So I hope your family are okay with that, basically. So, we do.
They're downstairs. That's right. Put the dog away as well. So,
as I always say, it's easier to seek forgiveness than permission. So, well done for sticking with us. But like I say to everybody who joined us on Zoom, it's a real pleasure, and for us, this whole series has been doing remote pod, so it's nice to get everybody involved. It's such as the technology these days, so hopefully for series 4, which will begin in a couple of weeks' time, I think end of April, we'll be able to see everyone again, including you guys. So
look forward to it.
Awesome. Definitely be nice to be nice to not be doing lots of this, wouldn't it? I think it definitely sounds different. I think when you're in the same room, and I think even from the pod, I think people can tell when it's Zoom recorded. You just don't get the same vibe. So definitely looking forward to that.
Andy definitely gets braver behind a keyboard as well with regards to like 996 views and whatnot. So
I come and slap you in the face. Don't you worry, mate. I'll take you down.
Keyboard warrior.
Never.
It's been cracking. So the takeaway message is Road to Redline will be back series 4 end of April sometime, and it's the July, Andy, is it, for the event?
Saturday, the 3rd of July. Yeah, put that date in the diaries.
Yeah,
More details
McDonald's
to come
car
as
park.
soon as we can. Yeah, yeah.
McDonald's
McDonald's
Northampton. I think.
takeaway. That's it.
More details to come, but it's at Paul and Deb's. So.
In their back garden.
All right, everyone. Well, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye.